Eyeless dogs. Hazard level A, they take 12 hits to kill, they'll insta-kill you, max spawn is 8, and they're most commonly found on Titan. Eyeless dogs have 3 phases: calm, suspicious, and aggro. When eyeless dogs are in phase 1, they'll walk around using the standard AI search routine. I've explained this function in my Forest Keepers video, but just to quickly sum it up, there are nodes placed all around the outdoor map which eyeless dogs use as checkpoints. They'll walk towards a node, check it off, then walk towards another node, check it off, and so on and so forth. Eyeless dogs use a suspicion meter to tell them when to advance into the next phase and when to return back to a previous phase. When a dog is in phase 1, that means its suspicion meter is 0. When a dog first hears a noise, it will enter phase 2. Before I explain phase 2, I need to explain noise detection, which is the main component eyeless dogs use to hear. Huge shout out to Agmus and Addy, as well as some of the other devs for help decompiling eyeless dogs, and an extra shout out to Addy for creating this table that provides us with all the details we need to understand how eyeless dogs use noise detection. Noise detection is separated into 2 categories: loudness and range. Loudness is simply how loud the sound is, but this isn't really something you need to know. The important variable is range, which is the furthest distance eyeless dogs can hear a sound. So, for example, if we look for sprinting, we can see its range is 22 meters, so if you're sprinting within 22 meters of an eyeless dog, it will hear you. Anytime a dog hears a noise, its suspicion meter will rise by 1. As I said before, eyeless dogs will enter phase 2 the moment they hear a noise. This is because their suspicion meter goes from 0 to 1. As long as the dog's suspicion meter is between 1 and 8, it will be in phase 2. The dog will growl and walk directly towards the noise it heard, then stop and wait until its suspicion meter goes back down to 0 and return to phase 1. In this phase, the suspicion meter will decrease 1 every 4 seconds. This means that if a dog only hears one noise, it'll return to phase 1 pretty quickly. This also means that if you keep making noise and raise the suspicion meter to, let's say, 6, then the dog will walk towards the last sound he heard and wait there for 24 seconds, then return to phase 1. If the suspicion meter hits 9, this will trigger phase 3. There are 2 ways the suspicion meter can be raised to 9. The first way is by continuously making sounds, as I just explained, and the second way is by making noise in the dog's instant aggro range. Eyeless dogs use this function to calculate where its instant aggro range is, but thanks to Addy, those numbers have already been calculated. On the chart, you can find the insta aggro range for every sound that dogs can hear. Let's take sprinting for example again. The range is 22 meters and the insta aggro range is 10.8 meters. If you're sprinting within the yellow bubble, then you're increasing the dog's suspicion meter 1 every time the dog hears you take a step. However, if you take even just 1 step inside the red bubble, then the dog's suspicion meter will immediately rise to 9, sending it into phase 3. As a little secret, if there's a solid object between you and the dog, all insta aggro range and regular ranges will be cut in half. And as a bonus, if you're inside the ship with the doors closed, all insta aggro ranges will be cut down to 1/4 of what they normally are. This table includes every sound eyeless dogs can hear, including voice chat and their distances. If you're interested in this table, you can find it under the Entities tab in my Discord server, link in the description. Even though dogs enter phase 3 when the suspicion meter is at 9, the suspicion meter will automatically jump to 11 when the dog enters this phase. A little confusing, I know, but just remember that if a dog advances into phase 3, that means its suspicion meter is at 11, and it will stay in this phase as long as its suspicion meter is 9 or higher. As soon as a dog enters this phase, it will howl, which sends all other nearby dogs into phase 3. The dog will sprint towards the sound it heard and lunge. There's a bubble around the sound they last heard, and eyeless dogs will charge that bubble and lunge as soon as they reach it. Most of the time, dogs will pass the bubble when they lunge, which causes them to turn around, run towards the bubble, and lunge again. They will repeat this until they return to phase 2, or if they hear any other sound, they will retarget to that sound. During this phase, the suspicion meter will decrease 1 every 3 seconds. However, while the dog is lunging, this timer completely pauses. 3 seconds is about the time it takes between each lunge, meaning every time the dog lunges, that usually means the suspicion meter has decreased by 1. Once the suspicion meter drops down to 8, the eyeless dog will return to phase 2. Please note that if noises are still being made, the suspicion meter will continue rising 1 for every every sound it hears, keeping the eyeless dog in this phase for much longer. A great example of this would be the dropship. When a dog hears a dropship, it will eventually enter phase 3, and since the dropship plays music, the dog's suspicion meter will continue to rise, keeping it in phase 3 for much longer. If an eyeless dog makes contact with you at any point, it will grab your body, immediately killing you, then enter phase 3. The kill animation lasts 5 seconds, and during these 5 seconds, the eyeless dog cannot hear, meaning you can make as much noise as you need. Eyeless dogs can kill other enemies, but instead of insta-killing them, they will deal 2 damage per hit. If you see an eyeless dog, I recommend just staying as quiet as you can, but if they're a real bother to you, you can guide them away from the ship pretty easily just by sprinting backwards, and once they get close to you, strafe to the side to dodge the lunge. This is the eyeless dog's hitbox, and as you can see, it has a second hitbox on its head, which is its weak point. Normally, eyeless dogs take 12 hits to kill, but each hit on their weak point will count as 2 hits, meaning you can kill an eyeless dog in as little as 6 hits. If you really want to kill an eyeless dog, first make sure you have a lot of space. Start by making a little bit of noise to get the dog to walk towards you, then hit its head, which will cause it to howl, giving you enough time to dodge the first attack. Once the dog lunges, make some more sound by sprinting in place, and as soon as the dog starts charging you, strafe to the side and hit it. Repeat this until the eyeless dog is dead. We just hit 50,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone liking, commenting, and even just watching the videos. The support this year has been insane. And if you're not already following me on Twitch, I'm live every single weekend, so make sure you tune in. First link in the description.